locked in.
Look at what we have here, folks.
To the only show that matters.
The cream of the crop.
Duke Loves Wrestling.
And there is no one that does it better than
your host.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass.
The Duke.
And I'm all out of bubblegum.
Welcome back to Duke Loves Wrestling, the show about pro wrestling and everything else. I am your illustrious host, the Duke, and I'm joined by some guy by the name of the Boston Bad Boy.
Yeah. Just get on with it, will you?
Wow. You know,
why isn't this everything else that we talk about on this show things that I enjoy?
We tried that before. It didn't work.
No, it worked great.
No,
this show works the best when you're not even here.
It didn't work. Well, you weren't. You sent me some nonsense last week about
I was very
sauce.
busy.
Yeah.
I had a lot to do.
Oh, please.
I couldn't be bothered with this stupid show.
Did you cook?
No, I didn't.
Oh, good.
However,
thank God. No one
died. As I believe I mentioned to you before, my aunt's crusade to make homemade cranberry sauce is finally over.
Oh, okay.
She went with the canned variety, which is the right thing to do. It's the only American thing to do.
No, I had some cranberry sauce that was more sour than sweet. It wasn't the canned stuff.
Yeah, I don't care what you're talking. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't care about it. What I'm trying to tell you is the Ocean Spray is the canned cranberry sauce of America.
Oh,
and
okay.
if you're using that homemade crap, I don't want to hear anything about it.
Well, what if I'm Japanese? Did you ever think about that?
What does that do with anything?
Selfish self. What if I'm Japanese?
That has nothing to do with anything.
They don't have anything to do with Ocean Spray. Did you ever think about that?
You are a strange individual.
I am.
And, but my aunt also decided to cook the turkey a little bit of a different way. She spatchcocked the turkey. You open it up, lay it out rather than it'll cook faster. You do it with chicken. You sort of cut the breastbone out and you can lay it flat so it cooks evenly. You can put like a marinade on it, whatever. Apparently the oven didn't get up to temperature properly. We didn't eat dinner until 6 o'clock.
Oh,
yeah, it was dinner. It was dinner by the time we ate.
Damn,
I had to put that thing in 500 and just roast the crap out of it right there at the end.
So I eat early, man. I get it all done by 3, 4 o'clock.
Yeah, well, I think the start time was supposed to be 4 o'clock.
Sure.
And by the time we actually all said and done, it was after 6. So.
Terrible.
I was starving. That was the good thing about it.
So you had time to actually do the show, and you basically flaked on us.
Absolutely.
You flaked on all of our wonderful fans.
Absolutely.
Who sent in some interesting comments last week, which,
I don't think they probably were.
They were very interesting.
Absolutely not.
And shout out to second to none Duane O'Neill. He keeps talking nonsense online.
Oh, yeah?
About Rodney Mack and Jazz, and it's really embarrassing.
Boy, you really better have it in the pocket to talk to a guy like that.
Seriously. Seriously.
I know he's a big dude, and that's what he does for a living. But
he's not Rodney Mack. That's the problem.
Yeah. You know what? It's all up here.
Yep.
This is where it is.
Yeah.
Do you want to have that battle? I don't know.
I don't know.
Have it?
I don't know.
You're talking to somebody who's not afraid.
Well, I'm just going to put it out here in the line. Every promoter in the world, okay, put this match on, please. Duane O'Neill and whoever he picks versus Jazz and Rodney Mack. Let's just get this out of the way. The man needs a good beatdown to straighten himself out. That's what he wants out of life.
Well, it builds character.
It does.
Some people want to be taught a lesson. They need that kind of structure.
He deserves it.
That's why I'm here, to keep you in line, because otherwise you would be completely insufferable.
Give me a break.
That's why I'm here.
Give me a break. On today's episode, folks, we're going to be talking to our man from Pugilism Co., Mr. Reed. He's going to be talking about the Wilder fight, a few other things.
I like
MMA.
when Reed's on because he's very thoughtful. He's really good on the mic, unlike you. It's a different experience. It makes my night go by a lot better.
I just don't know what to do with you sometimes.
Well, get me out of here or give me some more money.
Whatever.
That's what I want to do.
Whatever. And we'll also be going over the top stories in the world of professional wrestling, a.k.a. Run the Ropes. But before we get to any of that, Boston Bad Boy.
Oh, boy.
WWE Hall of Famer, Donald Trump. Folks like when we do this,
Yeah, well.
It's very interesting.
It's an interesting world we're living in.
It is.
You know what? You know how I know it's an interesting world we're living in?
How?
You and I sitting here talking about wrestling is the most sane thing that's happening in the world.
It's true. It's very true.
You know what I mean? Like,
very true.
The insanity of what pro wrestling is seems very normal and tame compared to the people who have their finger on the button of the nuclear arsenal of the free world.
The alleged president of the United States in the world, of America.
And alleged is becoming more and more more and more possible
Seriously,
as we go.
Right? He's up 4 a.m. tweeting about all the people he can't stand.
My God. Now, Trump is what, like 72, 73
Somewhere
years
around
old?
there, yeah.
So he's grandpa age.
Sure.
And old people, they're up late. Yeah, they're up early. They don't sleep a lot.
Yeah.
But that's insane.
4 in the morning, he's tweeting.
This is all right, and his tweets will end up in the Library of Congress. Those are public record tweets. That's not you and I.
No.
Tweeting.
No. Thank God.
It's like you have, George Washington, you have Thomas Jefferson giving a speech. You have JFK giving a speech. Put a man on the moon. All this stuff, and then you have this nitwit's tweeting.
She's a horse face.
She's a horse face. Buy this person's book because it's good about me, which is illegal.
Yep.
I thought they were not allowed to endorse.
No, they're not.
Or promote money-making venture.
He doesn't care at this point. He's just doing whatever the hell he wants.
Well, he better do it while the getting's good.
Sure.
And I certainly hope that when him and his buddies were talking to Julian Assange, he told him how comfortable it was living in an embassy in the middle of London, because Trump is going to end up in exile.
Where do you think he's going to go?
It's tough because he's a guy who's set up to go.
Yeah.
He's got places all around. And there are people who like him.
True.
And I'm not talking about flyover country in America. I'm talking about business partners. I think he's a riot, especially the foreign ones who
made some money
off of him. Exactly.
Sure.
Especially now.
Yeah, I know.
I think the Middle East would put him up. However, I think that would cause too many tensions between the Middle East and the United States. The Saudis or somebody like that.
So Russia.
Because Russians don't want him either. Because if the theory is correct that Roger Stone, the biggest charlatan, I got to give him credit.
Sure.
The most successful con artist, perhaps in the history of the world.
Sure.
He finds goofball Manafort, who's up to his eyeballs in hock. The two of them say, hey, well, dumb Trump wants to do this publicity tour called Running for President. He's never going to win anyway.
Yeah.
But let's use it as an opportunity.
Make some money.
Manafort says, I want to make some money, and Stone is a true believer in anarchy. And he just wants to fuck with shit. He just wants to just upset it. Never thinking, always assuming that, Trump will lose in the end, and then I can go talking about how it's rigged. He can just keep the con game going. Because the con never has an end, right? I mean, the con always leads to the next con.
Sure.
So he doesn't want it to come to an end. Trump winning?
It came to an end.
Well, it was the beginning of the end.
Sure.
Because now someone is going to start really looking at what's going on here, because this guy is the alleged president of the United States. And they approach Russia. That's the theory, and that's the theory I've been reading about, and it's looking like these two knuckleheads say, okay, who's really good at hacking? The Russians. They are. They could use some cash. Let's do a little glad handing with them. They can hack the thing, blah, blah, blah. They get to put their thumb in the eye of the United States. We get to put our thumb in the eye of Hillary Clinton. Everybody has a good laugh. I get to be Roger Stone. And now, look where we are.
And the Russians were too good at hacking.
Because if you listen, and if you listen to the language that some of the White House people are using, or that Roger Stone's using, saying the Russian state was never involved in blah, blah, blah. Very specific to say the Russian state, which makes me think that Putin and his people were just happy to oblige, but was not their idea, comrade. They came to us with information. It's my job to do it.
It could have been some guy on the couch, right?
Exactly.
That's
right. Yeah. And then, Kellyanne Conway and that other gang that couldn't shoot straight, talking about, there was no collusion. Well, if there was, we didn't, only it was low level. There was there. Well, then it definitely wasn't the president didn't know. The story keeps changing.
They're all over the place.
They're all over the place. You're talking, when this happens, and I know that we're in a pop culture obsessed world right now, in a reality TV world, obviously Trump is president. But I don't think people will, for a long time, understand that whatever happens here is as significant as the moon landing.
Oh, absolutely.
Is as significant as the assassination of JFK.
Oh, yeah.
Is as significant as perhaps, all the other major world events that have happened, rather, in through the lens of the United States.
Entire history books we'll be talking about. It'll be in there.
Right. I mean, if this is involved where U.S. citizens hired out a foreign government to install a person at the top, this is beyond Watergate.
This is pro wrestling.
Well, it is, and so Here's, I think, the only way out of it.
Okay, here we go.
Now, forget about Trump's subordinates. We've talked about, Pence. These guys should they should get while the getting's good. I think, work with the special counsel, immunity, the whole 9 yards. And we were talking about that earlier. And I said, I think they've got everything they need without them flipping. So maybe those conversations happen. But if I'm Trump, there's only one way out of this. Because he's so good at lying. He pulls the face turn. He goes completely to the left.
Okay.
He embraces Nancy Pelosi and the Democratic views. Says, you know what? These guys didn't empty the swamp the way I wanted to. You know what? I'm going to work with you guys. You know what? Let's put these. He just pulls a psychotic 180 because it will be so psychotic that while everybody is trying to figure out what the F is going on, history keeps moving. And history has always been, what have you done for me lately? George Bush goes out there, makes paintings, and hugs Michelle Obama, and suddenly he's the grandpa.
Yeah.
Guy's a war criminal. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
See how easy that was?
Yeah. It's true.
I say that Trump's got a shot. He's got a shot. Because he's so far into Cuckooville, even if he brings it back to like 30% into Cuckooville, everyone's going to think, oh, my God, our national nightmare is over.
See, we told you he was great. Yeah.
So, that's what he could do. And that would make it pro wrestling.
We're going to put up a poll. Where do you think Trump is going to flee to if the special counsel comes down with the indictment?
Well, all right, so where are his kids going to go? Because he doesn't want to be away from his kid. Well,
true.
The
he
daughter.
doesn't want to be away from the daughter. Yeah.
So the daughter
that he likes.
I'm going to say, I think that Jared and Ivanka, Israel.
Okay.
And I think he goes there, too, because him and Netanyahu are best buddies.
Sure.
And Trump will claim that I, too, am one of the persecuted people. But again, I think that's what he thinks. I think that the people in these other countries are going to go, well, we don't want this guy. No,
please. We're not going to have him. Take him back.
Julian Assange is one thing to hide out in the Ecuadorian embassy.
Sure.
You're talking about a president of the United States.
No, can't do it.
Who's going to take this guy?
Yeah, can't do it.
Can't do it.
Ain't going to happen.
And so, he's got nowhere to go. Antarctica, maybe? The North Pole?
They could find him there.
The Russians won't take him. Or the Russians would take him just to fuck with him.
They could take him. Exactly. He'll be the national joke. Huh?
Right.
There it is.
But what does that do with their relationship with us? Because we're going to sanction them. We're going to sanction them into non-existence.
Well, maybe they take him to give him back.
Right. Huh? Right. I can't think of maybe. You know what? That island in India.
There it is.
That's where we send him. Maybe he can go down there and spread the good word.
We'll see how the natives feel about him.
Beautiful. You know what? It'll just solve itself. The natural world fights back against that clown.
Watch out for those arrows. Run the ropes. It's time to run the ropes. It's when I educate this knucklehead Boston bad boy on the top stories in the world of professional wrestling. Let's go. Breaking news. Fox tells the WWE what to do. This is some crazy stuff here, Boston bad boy.
Yeah.
Fox Broadcasting, so not Fox News, not Fox Sports, but regular Fox TV.
Yep.
They purchased Smackdown Live. Well, they let the WWE know that they want Ronda Rousey.
Yes.
They're telling WWE what to do.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
Well, what do you think is going to happen? How did they think that wasn't going to happen?
I don't know.
And anytime the network, it's a television show.
Sure.
So the network's going to come down and say, you can't
pay $1 billion for this.
Well, but it's like even if it's a sitcom or whatever, the network's going to tell you what you can and can't do.
I don't know how I feel about that, though.
What do you want? You can't have it all.
I don't know.
The network, listen, it's business. Vince McMahon thinks he can march around and tell everybody what he wants to do in his little kingdom. Well, guess what? Now you're in Fox's kingdom.
You're in our kingdom.
Now you're in Fox's kingdom.
Yeah.
And you know what? Vince doesn't care. He doesn't care if moving Ronda Rousey is a bad idea.
Just show me the money.
Show me the money.
Show me the money.
He's already writing those checks. That money's already spent.
That's a good point.
So that's what I think about that.
Terrible. We'll have to talk to our guest Sean Reed about this. See what he thinks.
Can I just interrupt real quick and something we didn't talk about? The woman that named her kid ABCDE. Did you see that story?
Sure.
She named her kid ABCDE,
Mm-hmm.
and then they were on a flight, a Southwest flight.
Yep.
And the gate agent was chuckling. This kid's like 5 years old. Kid doesn't know what's going on. That her mother named her Ab City, which is actually my porn name, which I was very upset about.
Oh.
Ab City. That's
breaking news.
Yeah, exactly.
All right.
So, but you name your kid ABC. This is like a George Carlin bit. The mother should be laughed at.
I have no problem.
This is
with
what's
this.
wrong with the world.
No, I don't have any.
This is what's wrong with the world.
Leave her alone.
Name your kids something normal. What are these people naming their kids stupid names? A, B, C, D, E.
Apple.
Duke. Apple. All these stupid
Stay
names.
out of that. Stay out of my name. Hulk Hogan being used.
Oh, boy.
So this is kind of strange here at Boston Bad Boy.
Anytime you bring him up, it is kind of strange.
The WWE, they do this thing with the March of Dimes, which is a big-time organization.
Yep.
You know, they're fantastic. They do things for the less fortunate.
Mm-hmm.
Of all the people to use at this luncheon to get people in the spirit of donating to the March of Dimes, they used Hulk Hogan.
Wow.
So what do you think about that?
He had some availability in his usual charities to re-erect Confederate monuments?
Oh, my God. Here we go.
What is that? What is that supposed to do?
I don't know. He's a face. He's a name.
Well, what this is a bad engineered attempt to make him seem approachable. The problem is the effing guy never apologized. He never said that what he did was wrong. He continued to say it. So now what you're saying is, and what does the March of Dimes have to say about this? If I was them, I'd say, get out of here.
They're falling asleep at the wheel.
Find anybody else.
They clearly don't know what's going on with this guy.
Well, that's part of the problem too. I mean,
people don't pay attention.
Well, if I'm running a nonprofit, I'm getting all choked up.
Look at you, yeah.
If I'm running a nonprofit and trying to raise money, charity, and I get the WWE says I'm going to get a couple $1 million or however much they're going to end up big serious money. This isn't a $5,000 donation.
Sure.
I'm guessing that the people at the March of Dimes don't really know pro wrestling that well. One would think that somebody's doing some research there, and maybe they will say that, you know what, thank you, but no thank you, because, you know what I mean? It's like David Duke donating to your soup kitchen.
Yeah.
Do you take the money? Well, I don't know. What do you know? I think you have to make a stand, because where's that money coming from? What's that money represent?
Ooh.
What's that money represent?
What do you think, folks? Do you think it's wise for the March of Dimes to be doing anything with Hulk Hogan, even though he's an extension of the WWE at this point, and that's how he's being used? But let us know. Breaking news, John Cena to receive a big-time award. I don't know if you saw this earlier.
From Lee's Dungarees?
What's wrong with you?
Just asking.
What's wrong with you? Jesus, you're not going to... This is not John Cena Bash Day. This is John Cena Congratulations Day.
You get a new haircut?
He actually did. Do you know about John Cena's haircut?
No, I don't know about John Cena. I don't want to know about John Cena's haircut.
Well, John Cena's going to get the Muhammad Ali Humanitarian Award, okay, which is a pretty big deal. It's the Sportsman of the Year Award being given out by Sports Illustrated. Can you believe that?
But it's not,
Don't do it. Don't say what I think you're going to say.
Well,
don't do it.
I don't know. Who is he up against? Who's he up against?
Everybody. Every athlete in the world.
So athletes that don't have preordained winning or losing.
He makes wishes.
Athletes that have to compete.
He makes wishes.
Wrestling is not a competitive sport. That's the difference.
All right. I knew you were going to do that.
Wrestling may be a sport. It's not a competitive sport because the ending is preordained.
So what? What's your point?
Well, the difference is there's a different level there. There's a different level you have to get to win.
He's still an athlete.
Versus a level you have to get there to participate.
He's still an athlete.
I'm not saying he's not. I'm saying, though, he's not a competitive athlete.
Congratulations, John Cena, West Newbury's own. Represent from the hood, from the mean streets of West Newbury, Massachusetts.
You know who's from the mean streets of Boston? That was a competitive athlete.
Who?
I don't know. I don't follow sports.
Oh, Jesus Christ. And the number one store in the world of professional wrestling is. You're going to love this one, Boston Bad Boy. This is good stuff. Comedy Central getting involved with the Valhalla Club.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, this is crazy stuff here, man, and I'm very proud of our guys here from the Valhalla Club. You remember these?
Yes,
are
of course.
Army veterans who utilize pro wrestling to combat their PTSD.
Yes.
All right. Comedy Central is putting on this Valhalla versus the World. It's a special. Okay. Now they're going to be opening doors on Saturday, December 1st. This is happening at 300 Winter Street in Marlin, Texas. So I guess it's going to be like a wrestling event, but they're going to be taping and be doing stuff. They're going to be and they're going to air this, by the way,
cool.
At a later date. But the idea is the Valhalla Club continues to make waves.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, it's an interesting angle.
Sure.
It's an interesting angle because what other sports are taking on this issue in general? And it's interesting too because there are how many veterans play in other professional sports? Not many.
Good point.
Because a lot of those guys are basketball, football. They're coming right out of college. If you're in college, you're not necessarily an enlisted person. Whereas wrestling, you could do your tour of duty. You're out at 23, 24. You could train to be a wrestler. You know what I mean? Because most wrestlers are in that 20-year-old in that 20s pocket.
Other people who've been on this show, that's what they do.
Yeah,
they're active military and they still pro wrestle.
And so there's wrestling is a unique spot.
Sure,
where it's one of those things. I guess golfing could be something because there's no age limit on golfing. It's not such a physical thing. But there should be more sports that should. It's because it's a great story, and I think that's why. Probably Comedy Central jumped on it. That's why the documentary is so popular.
Sports Illustrated,
because it's like you could see, like, this makes sense. How do you take something that's negative aggression and turn it into something that's positive energy? You know what I mean? And have fun with it. Have fun with that. That physicality isn't dark. That physicality isn't a problem.
It's pretty awesome. And these guys have come a long way. They've appeared on Monday Night Raw and Smackdown and things of that nature. So shout out to Bryson, Jon. Shout out to Eddie. In fact, we're going to have Eddie on the show real soon to talk about some of the latest things here. But
I mean, hopefully they'll come and talk to us now that they're big time with Comedy Central.
Well, this is the thing. These guys keep thanking us
for
being, one of the first to actually promote them and talk about their story and send it out to the masses.
And that was all my idea, just so
of course
the listeners know.
Of course it was. Give me a break.
So when you guys make the big time Valhalla Club, you know who to come to.
What the hell's wrong with you?
Help around. Just I'll happy to help.
You're going to take credit for their success?
No, I'm going to take credit for them coming on this show.
Okay.
And then whatever they need help with, I'm their guy, not you.
They don't want to have anything to do with you. Huh? I don't even think they like you.
Doesn't matter. I get things done.
You've heard what I think. Now, what do you think? Do you agree with me? Do you think I'm a jerk?
Yes.
Maybe something in between? Head over to Facebook. Head over to Twitter. Type in Duke Loves Rasslin and let me know. Up next, our man from Pugilism Co., Sean Reed.
Hey, this is Daniel Richards, the progressive liberal. I want you to remember to vote Democrat, turn this country around, continue listening to one of the best out there, the Duke Loves Rasslin podcast.
Hello.
Is this the Black Birch Sugar, Mr. Reed?
Fellas, what's going on? What's going on?
Oh, man, another day in paradise, sir. How you doing?
Good evening.
Pretty good, pretty good. Got me a cold one, ready to talk to my favorite fellas.
That's right, that's right. Listen, man, we got a big combat sports weekend ahead of us here, huh?
Yes, sir, we do. We do. Looking very forward to it. Of course, the biggest fight to me will be Deontay Wilder, the Bronze Bomber Deontay Wilder versus the Gypsy King Tyson Fury for Wilder's WBC heavyweight title and for Fury's mythical lineal heavyweight title, because he is the man who beat Vladimir Klitschko first, but then he was stripped of his titles because he fell into bouts of anxiety and depression and whatnot, drug, alcohol abuse, and he was stripped. But, yeah, man, WBC heavyweight title and the lineal heavyweight championship both at stake this Saturday on Showtime pay-per-view, December 1st.
Well, it's funny, too, Reed, because some of our listeners, and shout out to Aquila and some of the folks there, they've asked a very simple question. These aren't everyday boxing fans, but when there's a big fight, they want to tune in. So they asked a simple question. Is this Fury-Wilder fight worth getting this weekend? And since you're our main man who knows boxing like the back of his hand, you got to let us know, man. Is this fight worth folks spending money and checking out? Talk to us about this.
Absolutely. Duke, there's only one bigger fight that could be made in the heavyweight division, and that would be Deontay Wilder against Anthony Joshua. Now, Wilder, he conceded to every term. Him and Joshua, they negotiated for a fight. He conceded to every term. Home court advantage, the favorable purse split for Joshua. But Joshua and his promoter decided this was supposed to take place in September. Joshua and his brain trust decided to face Alexander Povetkin instead. I don't want to say he's scared of Wilder, but I think Joshua's promoter, Eddie Hearn, is definitely afraid of Deontay Wilder. And then when that fight wasn't made, Tyson Fury, he stepped up and said, you know what, Joshua is bringing shame and disgrace to England, so I'm going to be the man to bring it back. I'm stepping up, and I'm going to challenge Deontay Wilder. The styles of these two men is perfect boxer versus slugger matchup. You've seen Wilder fight. I mean, his nickname is Windmill Wilder. Meanwhile, Tyson Fury, he's a book who can easily be misjudged by his cover. He's got a dad bod. Let's just put it out there. Dad body.
It's like Duke as well. So.
That's right.
But that said, this dude is very nimble on his feet. He's got real good reflexes. He's hard to hit as big as he is. He's 6'9", 260 or whatever, but he's not easy to hit. He's got classic boxing skills, which dates back to he's an Irish traveler is the words that they call it. And they have like a 3-century lineage in just fist fighting and boxing. So this man grew up doing nothing else but fighting and boxing, and it shows in his level of composure when he's in the ring and his technical wherewithal. But again, he's fighting Wilder, hardest puncher in boxing, who can literally take you out with one shot. So yes, to answer your question, this is the biggest and best heavyweight fight of 2018. If people like heavyweight boxing, seeing big men go at it, they can't miss this fight.
So give it to us straight here, because there's a lot of experts that have made their picks. In fact, I know that Boston Bad Boy, he hit me to something there. Boston Bad, what did you say that Mike Tyson said about this fight?
So Tyson decided to chime in. He said, quote, although Wilder's punch is strong, nothing can compare to the mental strength Fury has shown both in and out of the ring. It'll be a close call, but I think Fury's got a true fighting chance.
Mike Tyson said that.
He actually said it more like this, but I just wanted to read it in my own voice.
Be careful with Boston Bad Boy. So,
FYI, Tyson Fury was named after Mike Tyson. Isn't that a great boxing?
That is a
great fighting name, Tyson Fury? Can you think of a better name for a fighter than that?
Wow. Well,
But yeah, I agree with Tyson's assessment to a degree. I'm picking Wilder by KO. But what Mike is saying, here's the deal. If the fight goes 12 rounds, then Fury's going to win because he's just the more polished fighter. He's going to make Wilder look amateurish at times. Wilder's going to swing and miss with those wide looping punches. Fury will probably laugh at him, mock him in the middle of the ring. Just the skill level between them, there's light years. One man has boxed his entire life. Another guy only started boxing at the age of 20. So, but again, Wilder's punch equalizes everything. It makes up for that gap that he may not have in skill level.
Sure. Now, transitioning here, there's another big fight that's on the horizon. Adrian Bronner with his crazy self. He's challenged Manny Pacquiao, a name that folks are most familiar with because of his fights with Floyd Mayweather. What's your take on this fight? I don't even know if I'm interested, to be honest with you, Reed.
So these are two of boxing's biggest personalities, pound for pound. Neither man registers in a true pound-for-pound best fighter sense anymore. But Adrian Broner, every time he fights on Showtime, they get close to like a million peak viewers.
Wow.
And Manny Pacquiao is a legend. So here's the deal with that. Manny recently left his longtime promoter, Bob Arum. He wants a rematch with Floyd Mayweather, so he signed with Mayweather's manager, Al Heyman. So they're basically feeding him Adrian Broner just kind of as a warm-up. And then the plan is for Manny and Floyd to have a rematch sometime in 2019.
You got to be kidding.
Pacquiao wins that fight, though. The worst version of Pacquiao would beat the best version of Broner. There's just no two ways about that.
Wow. Wow. So you tell me Floyd Mayweather and Pacquiao are going to fight again?
They discussed it, man. I mean, they met over in Japan, and they discussed having a rematch. it's a money grab at this point. But Pacquiao truly believes he could beat Floyd. And if the Floyd we saw against McGregor shows up in the ring, I would favor Pacquiao to win the rematch for sure.
Well, Pacquiao's got to not be on those drugs,
though. Would I pay for the pay-per-view? No. I wouldn't buy the pay-per-view, but I would be interested enough to, maybe watch the replay the following week. And I would favor Pacquiao, like I said.
We're talking to Sean Reed, the man from Pugilism Co., a.k.a. the Black Burt Sugar.
So I question for you, because I'm a noob when it comes to boxing. Wilder's record 40-0, 39 knockouts. Who else compares to those kind of numbers?
Man, you have to. There's been a handful of guys. Edwin Valero is one. He's just a weird, crazy Latino. I think he was Venezuelan or something to that effect. I think he may have been 26-0, 26 knockouts. He committed suicide in his home country, so he's obviously not fighting anymore. There's been a couple other guys. Mike Tyson rattled off, I believe, 18 consecutive knockouts to begin his career. But just to me, as far as fighting elite-level competition, I've never seen a guy get to 40-0, 39 by KOs. And, oh, by the way, the one guy that went to distance, Wilder had a rematch with him and knocked him out in the very first round. So
he beat the stuff out of him.
He's literally knocked out every man he's faced.
Yep.
Literally.
Yep.
Wow.
It's true.
It's sort of, I didn't want to brag, but that's also my record. Every man I've faced, I've knocked them completely out. I don't like to brag about it. I don't like to talk.
Okay.
But, and you know what? Okay. And right now it's 39 knockouts, but Duke, he's itching to be 40. So I'm working on it.
Stop your nonsense right now, Boston Bad Boy. Reed, transitioning on, speaking of boxing and combat sports in general, what is this I'm hearing about Golden Boy Promotions getting into the MMA game?
Yeah, they're trying, man. They just recently staged the third fight between Chuck Liddell and Tito Ortiz, which, as we know, was a joke. I think Oscar's in over his head here. At one point, he, mispronounced Chuck Liddell's name. Come on now. Chuck Liddell's the reason most of us started watching MMA. I know he was the reason for me. 05, 06, 07, whenever he was running roughshod over everybody.
The Iceman.
And then he fought Rampage Jackson. That's what got me into MMA, was Chuck Liddell and Rampage Jackson.
It's funny,
but,
too.
I don't know about De La Hoya. He's him and Dana White are going at it a bit with some comments. He's calling. He said that the UFC is over, it's dead, and I don't think he knows enough about the sport to be. He could put on circus fights like this particular one, but I don't see him ever being a legitimate mixed martial arts promoter. No, I don't see that.
Considering the fact that Chuck Liddell has been knocked out his last, how many fights even before this, at least his last 3 fights before this, and he hasn't fought in years, why the hell would anybody sanction a fight with this guy? I mean, he's over 40 years old. And legitimately here, Reed, do you think that he's just short on money or something like that? Because a guy at his level shouldn't be fighting at all, and he's made at least $15 million in his career. I mean, come on.
I would like to think Chuck Liddell makes more than enough from personal appearances and autograph signings and whatnot to where he doesn't need the money necessarily. I think he wanted to fight. And if you're going to throw him a bone against a guy he legitimately hates, like Tito Ortiz, he was all over it. But like you said, man, this dude, he's been knocked out in 6 of his last 7 fights. Not just lost them. He's been KO'd in 6 of his last 7. Didn't make it out of the first round in his last 3 fights. It should not have been sanctioned, but we've had this discussion before, fellas. I told y'all the McGregor-Mayweather fight shouldn't have been sanctioned based on the fight. McGregor was a debuting boxer fighting a guy with 50 fights. But, money talks. At the end of the day, money talks.
In general, in fighting, should anybody over 40 years old be stepping in the ring? What do you think there?
I would say maybe 10, 15 years ago, no. But, you got guys in the NFL like Tom Brady, like Drew Brees. 40's like the new 30s. So, depending on the individual, I would be fine with that. I can only speak for Texas, where I did some matchmaking. I know that for you to fight in Texas, if you're 36 years of age or over, or 36 or older, you have to get mandatory like EKGs, EEGs, and like head brain scans. They're not just going to let you walk into the ring because you could have sustained whatever in your 36 years. I would hope other commissions do that. I would be shocked that Liddell could have passed the battery of tests with all the times he's been KO'd, but just like that, just like anyone will sanction a fight, there's doctors who will clear anybody to fight.
Yeah, it's disgusting. And speaking of fights being sanctioned, what have you, this piece of trash, Jon Bones Jones, he had the audacity to go on ESPN First Take with Stephen A. Smith and Max Kellerman, and they asked him directly about the steroids in his system. Shout out to Molly Quirm. She actually asked him the question, how do the steroids get in your system? And this man had the audacity to say, I don't know. An elite fighter like Jon Bones Jones does not know how steroids got into his system. So you gotta let us know what's up with this, Reed, because I mean, you know, you're such a well-respected combat sports journalist, expert. You know the deal here. Can somebody on your level who knows as much as you know and you understand the history of fighting, can you accept that an athlete at that level doesn't know how things get into their body?
Absolutely not. Any athlete on that level, they're extremely meticulous about what they put in their body. Not only that, they have people. So if you have a guy that gets apples for you, he's your apple guy. You got a banana guy. You got a wheat cereal guy. Like, it would be that specific to where if someone gave him a substance that he failed for, he would know exactly who did it. And very quietly, Jon Jones got his – it was supposed to be a 4-year suspension. He got it reduced because he agreed to be an informant for USADA or VADA, whatever testing agency it is. So they should have asked him that question. It's like, hey, John, so you made a plea deal with the drug testing agency. They wouldn't let you accept this plea deal if you didn't have legitimate information to give them.
Wow.
So Jon Jones is lying, but you can tell by the interview he's always trying to downplay it. He talks in that Steve Urkel, that whiny Steve Urkel tone of voice that he has. He's just fake, man. Phenomenal fighter, my favorite mixed martial artist to watch, bar none. But he's even in the interview, he's like, well, basically what they're saying I had equates to a teaspoonful of a substance thrown into an Olympic-sized swimming pool. He kept harping on that. He did 2 or 3 other interviews the same day, and he kept harping on that one teaspoon of salt in a Olympic pool thing.
What the?
But you can. I've once a guy lies to me twice, and I pick up on their body language and the little quirks and movements of their face as they're lying, I can tell they're lying. And all the same symptoms that we've seen before with Jon Jones were there in his ESPN interview and in his subsequent interviews that same day. He's lying, period.
You know, it really begs the question what he knows about the Trump Tower meetings that happened in 2016 as well. I mean, it throws throws it all into question.
We're gonna break an exclusive here. Jon Bones Jones is gonna take down the whole Trump criminal organization here.
So he probably could. He probably could.
By hook or by crook.
That's right.
So we always have to talk wrestling, even though I don't like to talk wrestling. And news is coming out now that Fox wants Ronda Rousey to join the Smackdown team. What do you think about that?
I think it's good for business. You guys can educate me. So I think I saw that she brought her MMA buddies, the 4 horsewomen, to wrestling with her. Is that right?
She sure did.
Shanna Baszler and a couple of the other girls.
Yeah, Shafir. She brought a couple of those ladies there to mix it up with everybody else. Yes, sir.
What is I'm also hearing some beef between her and the Bella twins, or one of the Bella twins. Is that just manufactured or is that legitimate?
No, that was a manufactured feud that's already come and gone. She's feuding now with Charlotte Flair and Becky Lynch. So,
okay.
But it's interesting, though, because, as you know, WWE sold SmackDown to Fox, to air on Fox, and that contract starts next year. They paid over $1 billion on that deal. And now they're telling the WWE, we want Rousey, we want Lesnar, and we want Daniel Cormier.
Well, because they lost UFC to ESPN. So it's essentially that what they're trying to do is UFC light. And I'm going to say underline the light on that.
Huh. Is it going to work?
It's a very smart move, but if you're telling me I's have been dotted and T's have already been crossed contractually, they're going to have to renegotiate that deal to get Rousey. I get why Fox wants her. I mean, she's an easy name to sell. But, yeah, they're going to have to rework that deal to get – unless they clarified that ahead of time, which it doesn't sound like they did. Then, yeah, they're going to have to rework that, man.
And it just, to me, seems like another mishandling of the WWE as far as what they're doing with the women on the roster. Because it's like, well, here's Rousey. Oh, Fox wants Rousey. Let's cash the check and get it going. And, you know, roster be damned as far as it goes with good programming and good television.
And I'm sure she's real popular with some of the more tenured ladies on the WWE roster.
Exactly.
Oh, I bet. Yeah, please. Now, what do you think about that, Reed, though? Because it's kind of an interesting deal here where you have the network trying to dictate to the company who is going to be on the program. And in addition to that, Fox has already made it clear that they do not want to cross-promote with the USA Network, who's going to maintain Raw. So they legitimately want the WWE to treat both programs separately.
I mean, that's the networks usually win, Duke. Let's look at other sports. I made a football reference earlier. Sunday Night Football, they have the right to flex schedule games. So a game could have been scheduled for 12 noon on this particular Sunday, but, if both teams are going to the playoffs, or if one of them is this hot new stud quarterback like Pat Mahomes, the network has the right to flex that game to suit their time schedule. So, I mean, that's what you pay for in the end, is the right to dictate what commodities you want and at what time. I don't really have a problem with it, to be honest with you. That's just how it is. Speaking
of that, the Cowboys are playing tonight, and what's up with this winning streak? Is it kayfabe? Is it manufactured
Stop
feud,
it right
or
now.
is it like a real thing?
Stop it, Boston bad boy.
It is a real thing. Even though we reached for Amari Cooper, he's helped right the ship. Because we have Amari Cooper, now less attention is paid to Ezekiel Elliott, who, with apologies to Ty Gurley, is the best running back in football.
So are the Cowboys going to beat the Saints, though? I mean, they're playing the best team in the league now.
The Cowboys will beat the Saints tonight. That's an official prediction.
Wow.
They haven't seen a defense like our defense. That's what I'm hanging my hat on. And we're going to be about ball control. Hopefully we get the opening kickoff. We take the ball first. We pound them with Zeke. I know they have the best defensive. They give up the fewest rushing yards or something to that effect. Zeke Elliott will be eating tonight. Trust me, gentlemen.
Feed him.
You know, it's funny because I don't even watch Dallas play, but I always wear my F. Jerry Jones shirt. Will you be wearing yours tonight?
Yes, I will have F. Jerry in full effect, and I will be posting in my F. Jerry shirt after the game, as I do after every game. Yes.
Reed, you're the only Cowboys fan that I know that religiously wears that shirt, but still cheers the T-Bone every week.
Well, based on his stance on anthem protests, I can no longer, in good faith, wear my Cowboys jersey. It's still my team, though. I'm going to root for them. Some people have stopped watching the Cowboys altogether. I'm more realistic than that. I'm going to watch them. Like, come on now. But, yeah, it's my own little personal protest. Have nothing kind to say about Jerry Jones. My T-shirt says everything about how I feel about him.
Well, since you brought it up, I mean, what's this deal with if you're a woman beater, you can still play in the NFL, but if you kneel during the anthem protest, then you can be blackballed. What's up with that?
Absolutely. Colin Kaepernick still jobless. I mean, Nike's thrown him a bone, fortunately. But, yeah, Reuben Foster, he was so bad. Like, he went to Alabama. When he was coming out to be drafted, Nick Saban even warned the NFL. He was like, look, whoever drafts this guy, you have got to surround him with a strong support system.
Wow.
A very strong one. He has a troubled past. Like, I believe his father tried to murder his mother or something. It's just some weirdness in his background, lots of violence and drugs and poverty and whatnot. But it's still no excuse for behavior. None of that justifies putting your hands on a woman. Just because you saw someone beat on your mother, you should have recognized that was wrong and want to make changes and corrections. But, I mean, that's the NFL, Duke. It's about power and control. It's not about doing the right thing.
Well, I think it's just, yeah, exactly right, because here's the thing. You take a kid out of college or whatever, a kid, real young kid, you throw a ton of money at him, 9 times out of 10, they're going to get in some kind of trouble, and now you have even more control over them because they're in this system of, they need you now, even more than you need them. It's almost like you give them too much power, you give them too much money, and it spins the psyche around a little bit. And then when they have these problems, you can't cut them loose because now you still need them to make money for you, and it's a power thing.
That's a hell of a take.
I've been broke my whole life, and I can't promise you I'm not going to reveal my age, but if I all of a sudden was given an NFL contract, I can't promise you that I wouldn't go out and buy a couple new cars, and I don't even wear jewelry like that, but I'd probably bling it up all of a sudden.
Exactly.
I can't promise you I wouldn't do that. Just have so much money at your disposal.
Right.
Now everybody's patting you on the back. It's got to be a rough adjustment. It's got to be a rough adjustment, like you said, Mr. Bad Boy.
Yep.
Unbelievable. Reed, if fans want to get in touch with you, what's the best way they can reach you, man?
Please check me out on Pugilism Company website. That's PUGILISMCO.com. You can also look up Pugilism Company on YouTube. I am the Blackbird Sugar Sean Reed. Have a Wilder Fury pre-fight article already on the website. Or you can look up Sean Reed on Facebook. I'll accept any and all requests.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Listen, Reed, we appreciate you, man. We hope you and the family doing well for the holidays. We're going to have to check back in with you after this big fight, but we appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, let's do it next week, man. I love you guys anytime.
Hi, this is Earl Oliver from Sully's Vintage Wrestling.
This is Raj Giri with WrestlingInc.com.
This is Sean Reed, boxing writer and undercover low-key wrestling fan, and you're listening to Duke Loves Wrestling. Woo!
All right, Boston Bad Boy. Something that's been developing, and we've talked about it online, but we really haven't dug into it on the show. Some funny business here, and folks, as you know, on the Duke Loves Wrestling podcast, we don't shy away from serious topics.
No,
right?
Like how I seriously want to quit this show.
Get the hell out of here. What's wrong with you?
It's serious, I'm just saying.
Well, we talked about it earlier. We covered PTSD and veterans. We've covered sexism, racism, classism. We've done it all on this show. Talked about sex tapes and the dangers of that with the whole Page situation, right? Drug use, you name it.
By the way, can I just take a quick aside because you brought it up? That movie that's coming out. That's
about Page's life?
Yeah,
sure.
That's Stephen Merchant, and then The Rock's in it.
Yeah.
Are we supposed to ignore that she's got a porno tape and it's just supposed to be a feel-good movie of the year?
Well, I think the movie it ends at the beginning of her career. It's not like it's talking about her whole career.
No, I get that, but what I'm saying is, I don't know. It just seems weird to me that we're putting someone up on a pedestal who obviously has a lot of issues, and she's obviously someone who assaulted some other people. At least one person that we know of. It's one thing to find out all that stuff after this movie was made. Do you know what I mean? Say, we shouldn't. But now that we know this person is not a very good person, why are we elevating them?
I mean, you bring up a fair point.
Especially since it's not like she's passed away. You know what I mean? This is not a historical. I don't get it. I don't understand it.
I mean, we just talked about the NFL and their domestic abuse issue.
Yeah.
WWE has a domestic abuse issue too. Yeah,
absolutely.
You're right. I mean, she's an admitted domestic abuser.
Yes.
Paige. And now they're featuring her in this big budget film.
And there were drug issues.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there were whatever. There was there's a lot going on there.
Okay.
Not a sort of upstanding person. And I feel like this movie is going to portray that more of this heartwarming story of a coming of age. And it's like, based on what I've seen in the previews, it doesn't seem like it's going to sort of balance it out and show what's really there. So I don't really understand the point of it. Like, where's the interest?
You know what,
for
fans?
Me, not much.
Fans, you can let us know. How do you feel about the WWE featuring a domestic abuser, Paige, in a big budget film like this on a feel-good story about her life?
And what's the Rock gonna be involved with that for? I lost a little respect for the Rock.
Well, I think before all the issues happened publicly, he was already involved with this film.
Hey, you know how much money he's got that he doesn't have to be involved with anything he doesn't have to want to be involved with?
Yeah.
I feel like, I don't know. It just seems a little weird to me.
Well,
it just seems a little weird to me.
I'm not here to tell you
if she wasn't young and pretty, I'm going to put it out there. If she wasn't young and pretty, this movie ain't getting made. If this is just a guy who grows up in the same situation with a wacky family. This movie isn't getting made because she's young and pretty. And you know what? That's the business. I just said it today to somebody I work with. We had somebody come in to do a performance. Young lady. She's a musician. Dressed, stage attire. Very attractive. And a couple of the guys are like, wow, that's, it's a nice pair of pants she's wearing. She's wearing a very nice pair of pants. And they said, one of the guys said, I feel bad even saying that. I go, it's the business we're in. That's the business. I'm not judging one way, you know what I mean? Like, so that's what sells. And if this was just some no-chin guy, it isn't happening.
Well, speaking of the no-chin guy, since you brought it up.
Not photogenic, I'm just saying.
James Ellsworth, Mr. No-Chin guy, they're not going to be making any feel-good movies about his life.
Maybe, I don't know. Maybe they will.
Well, not with the trouble
what's the difference?
Well,
at the end of the day, what's the difference?
There's a difference here. So, there's a young lady who alleges, she's 16-year-old from Massachusetts.
Yes.
She alleges that James Ellsworth sent her nudes. That's a problem.
Boy, that's a problem on a lot of levels.
That's a pretty big problem. He's a grown man.
Well, yeah, we don't even have to talk about the first problem, which is the illegality of it.
Sure.
I think that can go without saying.
And let me just say, because some people have, these internet lawyers who piss me off, by the way. You people really piss me.
Yeah.
We have not determined, and there's no trial or nothing like that says Ellsworth actually did that. I get this. So I'm not saying the man is guilty or innocent. I'm just putting out the facts here, and we're analyzing it, folks. So let me just put that out there. But you internet lawyers need to really shut your mouth. They're going to educate the masses on Massachusetts general law, like they know what they're talking about.
Oh, yeah, they're going to get into tort reform.
Yeah. So, the age of consent in Massachusetts is 16, so there's no law broken here. The word consent. Consent. Right. She didn't consent to have this guy send her nudes if it happened.
I'm going to do a very simple experiment right now. Right?
Yep.
I'm going to text you right now. I have my phone right here, and I'm going to text you a very bad word of what I think about you, right?
No. Don't do that.
And all right, so I've texted that to you.
I'm not looking at it.
Now you're going to pick up that phone and look at it, right?
I don't concede to this.
You don't really have a choice because it's already on your phone.
Good point.
You don't have a choice. Whether you look at it or not, you have received it.
It's there.
It's there.
It's there.
So that, my friend, is consent or lack thereof. So don't talk to me about that.
It's foolishness.
It's nothing.
It's foolishness. It's against the law to send nudes to people if they don't want them.
All right, let me put it to you this way. If Ellsworth was sleeping with this young lady because she consented to it and was hanging around and there's pictures of them out and this and that, a grown man with a 16-year-old girl, those same internet lawyers are going to think it's okay then?
They're out of their mind.
Because,
maybe
you know what I'm saying?
That's what they want to get into. That's probably what it is.
Well, there is
a lot of sick people out there.
There is a lot of sick people out there. And there's a lot of people who think, again, that the world has a certain viewpoint that should be.
Absolutely. But it did open up a can of worms, though. A lot of young ladies chimed in on the fact that wrestlers and people within the wrestling community who are adults solicit these young people, and especially fans. These are fans, so they look up to you.
This has gone on in rock and roll,
sure,
other athletic kind of things.
Sure.
Baseball. Look at,
I know,
everybody. It's disgusting, and it's men.
It's got to stop.
It's men.
It's got to stop.
It's privilege. It's male privilege.
Yeah. It's got to stop.
You know what I mean?
It really has to stop.
Yeah, it's and maybe Paige having that movie made about her is sort of fighting back at the male privilege.
There's a twist.
How do you like that?
There's a twist.
Here's a woman who doesn't deserve it getting the movie.
Yeah.
Usually it's the man who doesn't deserve it getting the movie.
That's a good point. She's going to make.
So this guy, all right. So he meets. Tell me, because I don't know this whole.
Right.
So he meets this person.
And by the way, we have an eyewitness account at least of when these two individuals met each other.
Yeah, we actually have an actual person.
Yeah, part of the wrestling crew,
right?
Listener and
who's at the forefront of this national story.
I know that's the international.
And allegedly,
yep,
they met at some event,
at a wrestling event. And
she's starstruck because she's a 16-year-old girl.
I guess he was being a little creepy at the event, according to
look at him.
Source. Well,
All right, you know how. All right, another quick aside here before we get into the telling of the story. We've had many conversations about how to conduct oneself at a workplace or in public.
Sure.
And, there's all this stuff going on that men are being falsely accused of X, Y, and Z. I've never been falsely accused. No. I have a lot of female friends, a lot of female coworkers, an exorbitant amount, actually, who I'm very friendly with, chat with constantly, and never have put myself in a position to be accused of something like that. Because I'm not a creep.
Hello.
There is you know what I'm talking about.
Yep.
There are people who will, listen, there's a line that you harassed somebody or you didn't harass somebody. If you're living a life that isn't clearly on the one side of not harassing, if you're somebody who is putting out an energy and doing and saying things constantly that could borderline, when one of those moments go, hey, this could go either way, it's not going to go well for you.
No,
it's not going to break for you.
It's not, especially today.
It's not going to break in your favor.
No.
If you're a creep otherwise. If you're very friendly with your buddies with somebody and you say something that could, that might have been a little, people go, I know where that is. You know what I mean? And that goes men in. That's just how people interact.
Sure.
So this guy's at this event acting a creep. We're already off on the bad foot.
Bad foot. Somehow they exchange information, online information. Tweet me or something like that.
Okay.
So she
seems reasonable, I suppose.
Send a message,
fans.
One of my favorites, yada, yada. Suddenly it turns into she's receiving nudes.
Now, here's what I don't get. And I feel like we've touched on this before, and no one has. Please, you humanoids out there listening, please fill me in. Because when is sending a picture of your penis ever worked?
I don't understand it. For the life of me, I don't understand.
Well, if you take 2 seconds to think about it, the answer becomes very clear. The sending of the penis picture. There is no.
That's not a thing.
Well, it is. Well, it is.
It's a thing that people do, but it's not a thing that works.
No, because they're not trying to have it work.
It doesn't make sense.
It's a power play. It is simply a power play. There's my dick, whether you like it or not.
Yep, there it is.
Whether you like it or not, it's on your phone now.
Yep.
What do it's a power play. It's the same thing as the boss who has the secretary sit on the lap.
Yep.
Or grabs her ass as she walks by. No one's expecting them to take their clothes off.
No, it's just
at the moment.
I did it because I could do it.
Exactly. And the guys who do that, the power is what's getting them off.
Well, I love them. I just grabbed them and kissed them. Isn't that what the alleged president of the United States talks about?
Exactly.
Right?
But we all know that he's probably asexual. We all know that he probably can't get it up. So what tickles his fancy is the power.
Things. Yeah.
So sending a picture of a penis is nothing sexual. It's power. It's the same thing as men who whistle at women as they drive by in a car.
Yeah.
Do they expect the woman to go, hang on, come back.
Yeah.
You're so handsome.
Yeah, I want to marry you because you whistled at me.
It's a power play. It's a subjugation. It's a push-up of status. This guy has no chin. He's a very ugly person, physically. Look at all these other guys. Even your beloved Roman Reigns. Handsome fella.
Handsome fella.
TV. Look at this guy. He's no face for